Well, all right, my friends, you are watching Wired Up Retro. It's episode 51. Today I want to show you two arcade controllers that can work on your Atari 2600 one-button games, as well as 7800 one-button games, as well as, surprise, the two-button Atari 7800 games. And if you go back a couple episodes to Wired Up Retro number 49, I had kind of said I didn't know a way to get that Atari 7800 trackball compatibility with two-button games, but today I'm going to show you how to do it, and it's really not that difficult. So definitely you'll be enjoying some footage from my Atari 7800. I'm also going to plug in the Atari 2600 games into my 7800, and we may play a game like, let's say, Star Wars, the arcade game, or maybe Star Wars The Return of the Jedi. So maybe have some extra fun playing those Star Wars games today. And what I'll feature today doesn't just include the X-Arcade Tankstick, but a couple other controllers, including mice that are compatible with this little adapter that's central to this, which is made by an eBayer who goes by Icons GR74. And he's been on eBay for a number of years. I've purchased a number of adapters from Icons GR, and I really appreciate the work he does. He's out in Greece. It's a little bit of a trip to get these items from Greece over here to the United States. I pretty much will say give him a couple of weeks to get them over to the States. But in the end, I think you'll be very pleased with the results. And you can use a standard mouse or a standard trackball that's PC compatible, as long as it's PS/2 compatible. And that's the old protocol from the 90s for mice and trackballs. Some of the newer mice and trackballs may not be so compatible unless you use something like a KVM switch that's powered up. And I am actually going to be using that. That's another pivotal adapter that I'll be using to get this X-Arcade Tankstick working. And if you watched episode 49, I think you know all about that. All right, so another thing I want to show you here today is my Tron Multicontroller. This basically is a Tron joystick that I put together on episode number 44 of Wired Up Retro. It's got the trackball and spinner, and my hope would be that you could see how to get this PC/PS3 controller working on an Atari 7800 for the two-button games and Atari 2600 for one-button games, also the one-button 7800 games as well. So this also was featured in Wired Up Retro episode 47, so you could either check out how I made it in episode 44, or you can watch episode 47 where I play some PS3 and PC games using it. So anyway, but today, wow, wouldn't it be awesome if I could get it to work on some of these 1970s or 80s consoles that are Atari based? I think so. All right, so the first game I'm showing you is Alien Brigade for the Atari 7800. It's one of the two-button games. There were a number of two-button games that'll work well with this trackball. That would be one. Another one is Cracked, which is maybe not the most fun 7800 game, but it does require the two buttons if you're going to play it, and using a large trackball like this can make it extra fun. Another game is Planet Smashers. There are also two peculiar 7800 games that were designed basically as two-button games if you have the two-button controller plugged in, but if you've only got a standard Atari 2600 controller with one button plugged in, well, the 7800 was designed on asteroids and Xevious to detect that and then allow you to have a one-button controller that actually works. By pressing a button and toggling the stick a little, you can get the two-button action to work. But anyways, when I was trying to plug all this in with those two particular games, I had some issues. So hopefully today we're going to see Asteroids working just fine, and Xevious as well, since those are nice two-button games. You want to use the Tankstick trackball to play those. I think you are going to enjoy seeing what the results are. All right, so let's get this going. I've got this on pause, and we'll see how it goes. Let's try a different game. All right. Oh, it's just so sad. I was going to show you Xevious. Again, that's that 2-button specialty Atari 7800 game. So we'll see how it works. You can switch using the trackball. I think we're going to go with intermediate. Here we go. All right, let's move on. I'm going to show you a little bit of Star Wars the arcade game. It's a 2600 game. I'll put it in here. All right, I've not tried this with this big trackball before, so I can't guarantee you're going to be impressed, but all I can say is we can try. It seems like it really controls nicely. All right, another game I want to show you is Return of the Jedi Death Star Battle. All right, I Definitely wanted to show you a 7800 game that has the 2-button compatibility, Asteroids, which I had mentioned before. Oh. All right. And all right, let's go ahead and move on to the Tron joystick and multi-controller. We're going to try some interesting things. Okay, before we get into playing a 2600 game, whether it be on your 7800 or on an actual 2600 with the Tron stick, I do want to just jump back a little bit and show you a diagram that will explain how I got the tank stick by X-Arcade Trackball working with those buttons on the sides of the unit. So you can see here, I've written it all out, kind of diagrammed it out. And if you look in the description below, you'll notice that I planted a few Google Docs in there to explain it. So you can actually, if you want to, pull those up on your laptop and press print. And you can then have a piece of paper that explains it right in front of your eyes while you set it up. All right, so let's go on to the Tron multi-stick controller. When it comes to this, you can hook up both the trackball spinner and the Tron stick and buttons all at the same time. And I used a splitter cable to do this. I'm going to show you the diagram to set this up for 2600 games, whether they're in a 7800 or a 2600. So now it's time to play a little bit of Air Raiders. Now, to get it started, you turn on the console first, then plug it in. This is the best way to do it. All right, so we're plugged in, we're ready to go. I'm gonna take off. Here we go, up in the sky. So that's our altimeter. We're at about 19,000 feet. We can go all the way up to 40. If we do go to 40, we're wasting a lot of fuel. That's our fuel gauge right there. If you go into the red zone, that's a flak zone. So if you're in here for a while, you might get hit by flak. There's some flak. Anyway, your goal is to try to destroy as many planes as you can before your fuel runs out. Get over here. So you're going to encounter more of your enemy when you're between 20 and 30,000 feet than you will if you're at 40. So, you're trying to watch your altimeter and your ammo as well. And you have to get more than 10 plane hits in order to get refueled when you land and get up back in the sky. So I think that's all right. So we're going to descend to land and hopefully get refueled. Okay, so my score is these 12 hits, okay? So the objective is to just try to hit as many planes as you can so that when you land, you have enough hits to get to go up again and have the right to get it back up in the sky. It's kind of a fun game. I really enjoy it. Another game I want to show you today is an Atari 2600 game called Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator. It's a favorite of mine from when I was a kid. So I've got this in my Atari 7800. It's all set up with the Tron stick. One thing that I thought would be kind of neat in this episode, since the ship kind of rotates clockwise, counterclockwise, use the spinner to make it rotate and then make the stick make it go forward by pressing up. Now, the issue would be I'm going to have to reach down and press this button and get that to do the firing. So if I wanted instead to do the trigger to do the firing, I'd have to to either rewire the actual components inside the arcade stick, or another method would be to program a little device that I've already got hooked up to all of this. It's called the Cronus Max Plus, and if you want to take a look at that diagram again, you'll notice it's in there. So anyway, I just easily took that, programmed it with my laptop with a certain GPC script that switches out the X button for the square and swaps them. So this is actually representing the square of a PlayStation controller, that button, and that's now going to represent X because I swapped them. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get this game rolling. Okay, so yeah, you can see I'm going clockwise, counterclockwise, real easy with the spinner, and there we go. And you can also do the warp. Let's get over there and this is also, you don't have to use the spinner, you could also just use the joystick to play the game. But what's the fun in that when you got a spinner? All right, cleared sector 1.1. All right, so now I want to show you some Atari 7800 games. I'm going to keep playing this though. This looks like a whole lot of fun for me. Love this game. Okay, up next I'm going to be showing you an Atari 7800 2-button game. I've got this diagrammed out so that you can take a look at how I set that up. Okay, I've got Dark Chambers, a 7800 2-button game to show you. I just want to show you how both buttons will work with the setup that I have. Again, the diagram is available there on Google Docs, looking in the description. So let's proceed. This 7800 game has lots of different caverns and chambers to go to and defeat enemies in. And this is a bomb. So I just collected a bomb that can be detonated with my second button, fire button. So let me just show you, I can get rid of all these wizards by pressing that button. All right. Okay, so I also want to demonstrate to you the trackball to the 7800 2-button games as well. Okay, so for our grand finale, I have Alien Brigade. It's a 7800 game I'd shown you earlier in the episode, just a different level of the game to show off with both the trackball and the spinner, and even the joystick will work on this. All of them are combined to enable you to pick which one you want. Obviously in Alien Brigade, you're going to need to go vertical and horizontal, so the spinner is probably not ideal. But if you have a game called Fatal Run for your 7800, which is a 2-button game, it's going to enable you to play that, I think, pretty well. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm planning on giving that a try sometime soon. And I'll obviously put a mention of it in the either the comments below or the description. If there are issues, by all means, I'll let you know. All right, now when it comes to this, the joystick works just fine in controls. The trackball has wonderful, fast horizontal movement, okay? Vertical, on the other hand, is not fast enough. I guess you could say it's not extremely accurate because of that. At times your vertical motion seems to be wanting to be more diagonal than vertical. Now in a game like this, you can compensate because you're aiming a reticule. I don't think it makes that big of a difference because most of the movement you're doing is either diagonal or straight across, and that seems to work just fine with that trackball. But in a game like Cracked, where you have large vertical swaths to go, that is making it pretty much not really that playable. So unfortunately, this isn't going to work for certain 7800 games very well. Games like Cracked. There's another one, I did try Xevious. Fortunately, Xevious, since there's a lot of diagonals and a lot of back and forth, it seems to work pretty well because you're not having to do straight up vertical very often necessarily. So I liked it with Xevious, actually. But again, it's a little imperfect, okay? But the joystick, when it's used and combined with this and in my setup, it works perfectly. So, you know, if you try the trackball and you're like frustrated and you just want to switch over to the joystick, you can with this method. This is pretty much the most grandiose, most ridiculous adapter setup I think I have ever done on Wired Up Retro. We have a ton of adapters that were utilized to get this to work right. So, interesting. I think I get the world record today. All right, let's play this game. We'll see how good I am at it. Okay, it was on pause. So yeah, we can tell with the joystick. I was pressing the trigger accidentally. And then got the movement of the cursor going nice and quick. Okay, trackball time. Now you can go vertical with it, but it does tend to want to kind of wander. Horizontal, though, tends to work good, and diagonal, let me show you that. Diagonal tends to do great. Like I said, Xevious, that's going to work. Next level. I mean, you can go vertical, but you want to go slow with your hand when you do it. If you try to rip it up, it's going to try to go diagonal. It's pretty accurate. I mean, I'm actually able to perform pretty well in this game with it. It's a little imperfect, but not too bad. And again, I can switch at will to the spinner. All right, so you get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and pause this. All right, so those are some 7800 games that will work with the trackball, spinner, and joystick. So the Tron stick is mostly a success, I would say, if you're interested in using a stick. This is working great. I think the spinner tends to work quite well with horizontal, and the trackball with games like this and Xevious can be up to expectation, I would say, for a game like maybe Asteroids. Cracked, not so great, okay? Fatal Run, maybe that'll work, all right? So hopefully this has been an interesting episode, looking at these diagrams and seeing you know, the convoluted use of crazy adapters all put together in unique ways has certainly been an experience for me, as I hope it has been for you. All right, our next episode will have to do with the Atari 5200. Again, I'm going to try to get this Tron stick in use on the 52, and I'm hopeful that the trackball for verticals will be a little bit better than what we got with the 7800. It was certainly fine for the 2600 earlier in the episode. It's just for some reason the 78 is being a little persnickety about it. But yeah, we'll try the 5200 on the next episode. I got some interesting games to try out and to share with you. You know, one of my favorites is Dreadnought Factor, and Dreadnought Factor, I'm going to try using this spinner to go left and right while clicking the joystick up to speed up quickly and then letting it go to make my ship go slow, so I can just dial in my horizontal movement while laying out bombs and shooting my gun. So a 2-button game on the 5200 with the Tron stick. We'll see how it goes. All right, so hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. If you haven't checked me out on Twitter, I'm going to give you my Twitter handle below, and you can also go to my Patreon if you want to support the channel. I do take donations. All right, so look forward to talking to you soon. Enjoy your gaming. Take care.